Welcome to Letters to Louis with Abby Algiers. Welcome back, Abby.
Thank you so much, Sally.
We have a very interesting selection, and before we went on camera, I said this really affects the community on a whole. And this is Letters Home, to Home,
Right.
and about your dad dealing with a patient and how he watched this progress and how he made it better and then how it all ended.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's read the letter and then we can discuss how that's affecting us here.
Okay, perfect. Thanks.
Thanks.
Dear Louis, a look back at how things were, how they are, and perhaps a few lessons for us all. House calls to remember, lessons learned. Many lessons could be learned by the present practitioners of medicine. The marvelous tools of today are remarkable in making years of added productive life available. Judicious use of medication, surgical procedures, and diagnostic tools enables the management of previously deadly diseases and injuries. But there are great voids in the understanding of life as lived by patients. In the present day, there is a lack of knowledge as to just how patients really live and what might be threats to their health arising in and from the intimacy of their homes. Sometimes one is amazed that children survive the dangers of the home or that seniors live to collect another year of Social Security. Folks live in spite of accidents and screw-ups in their homes. Many dangers exist in the home and present true threats to life and limb. The age-old method of healthcare delivery, the house call, gave much understanding of personal family problems and threats to individual family and security. I well recall notable episodes with families over the past years. The house call was expected at times of crisis. It aided in diagnosis and often in the prevention of further harm. Sometimes it was revealing, sometimes diagnostic, many times hilarious, often fruitless and time-wasting, but always interesting. On occasion, even worth remembering and writing about. I recall one house call in the middle of the night in the immediate neighborhood, so close that I might have walked. I was summoned, went to the house, and found the elderly grandfather seated in the lower hallway on a straight-backed chair, bleeding quite vigorously from a long laceration on the top of his bald head. The ensuing history of multiple visits to the bathroom during the night, of daily soiling of his underwear from urinary dribbling constantly during the day, and becoming irritated added to the dramatic presentation of his beginning cognitive disorder. He had summoned help that night, but there had been no response. He then walked to the bathroom, stumbled on the throw rug above the open stairway, and tumbled down the steps, striking his head on the wooden step and lacerating the top of his head. He was a tough old man, slightly confused and in need of an exam, 6 sutures, and admission to the hospital. All was accomplished that night without the sirens of present emergency squad, and the history was obtained within minutes by observation and examination. I believe the suturing done in the kitchen was $25. The history dictated over the phone, including the house call at midnight, was $50, and the subsequent visits of $15 per visit. He was operated for prosthetic obstruction. His head healed, he regained urinary retention, and amazingly, the confusion at night cleared so that he again went home. He continued living in his home, had a bedroom next to the downstairs bathroom, and the hallways were devoid of scatter rugs. He lived for 4 more years. There were no more night house calls, and Jill slowly again became confused but slept well at night. This call demonstrated the completeness of observation of the incident, the multiple causes of the accident, the frazzled condition of the family, and the toughness of the old man. I'm sure all would have felt better if an MRI of the head had been obtained, but none was available. If the emergency squad had been summoned, the neighborhood would have been disturbed and the outcome would have been no better. In fact, the night visit resulted in an awareness of his sundowner syndrome, secondary not only to the slowly progressive cognitive disorder, but to his incomplete emptying of his bladder. The head wound was secondary to the frazzled daughter who forgot to wash the hall rug and failed to pick up the rug to clear the floor. One of the kids failed to pick up a play truck, and the old man hit his head on the truck, lacerating the top of his head. Also learned that night was the beginning of alcoholism of the son-in-law husband who wasn't at home but arrived later out of breath during the suturing of the old man's head. That problem too was remedied when the old man's bladder problem was corrected by prostate surgery. End of story. But another episode, this time on the south side of town, this time at 6 a.m. I was called, Gio was sick. Gio was the grandfather in a 3-generational family. Gio was a chronic alcoholic and had been having a bad week. His daughter was upset, crying, and when the police arrived. Because Gio complained of chest pain, the officer called me to attend. Again, the emergency squad had not been called because there was no emergency squad. On arrival, Bedlam was present. All the lights were on over the first floor, and the front porch window had been shattered. A heavy ashtray lay on the lawn. The cops had established order. I went in. 4 generations of the family were up and noisy. The police were making order, the new baby was crying, the grandmother was sobbing, and the baby's milk was boiling on the stove. One of the younger kids was sobbing and holding his wrist. He had fallen down the stairs when summoned during the free-for-all. The stair railing was missing, and the kid had fallen in his haste to respond to the family affair going on in the dining room off the front porch. Who threw the ashtray was in question, but the barefooted grandma had stepped on a broken glass and cut her foot. An unmarried daughter with a newborn was threatening to leave home, and most all wished she would. With the help of the police, order was restored. George's chest pain disappeared, and the kid was sent to the emergency room where the local surgeon set his fracture. I sutured the grandma's foot laceration, agreed with the daughter that social services should be notified, then called the county. Please might they find a suitable flat for her and her newborn, and a neighbor assisted in getting the other 2 kids to school on time. All this was accomplished in about 2.5 hours, at 6 a.m, without a social worker, just the policeman and I. I failed to mention there were a few neighborhood gawkers, and the carpenter repaired the stairway handle the next day. George calmed down, drank much less. Grandma rearranged the cupboards and secured the glasses. The kids went to school, the cast was signed, and the daughter married her friend, and the child's family became complete. I suppose records are better kept now, and the services are more comprehensive. But that house call worked out to everyone's satisfaction. One might ask, just what is the reason for this chapter? Well, this composition is in preparation for a lesson of household dangers. In each case noted, there are a number of hints and statements which indicate that home calls uncover many causes of potential or actual accidents and catastrophes. Some of these accidents are caused by housekeeping shortfalls, some by carelessness, and some by psychological and habitual problems. The cases are to gain attention to the home as being a place of accidents and catastrophes for individuals and to families. The first case demonstrates that elderly persons in the family need special care and observation. They are prone to develop nocturnal wandering when upset by physical problems. In this case, urinary frequency. Here the old man began to wander in the upstairs hallway, a darkened hallway. In order to not disturb the household, his attempts were almost disastrous. The carelessly thrown rug, a scatter rug, almost caused his demise. Rugs of this nature should not be in the homes of elderly persons. If possible, bedrooms for the elderly ought to be on the first floor. Both cases demonstrate that family problems ought to be discussed before alcoholism develops as a method of family coping. Many times the adult male loses his position in the extended family and resorts to alcohol instead of family conferences and psychological help. Both of these cases were corrected with professional help, and both cases were from divergent social positions, yet the problems generated were the same. The second example identifies the commonplace accidents from falling from unprotected stairways with no handrails. The absence of handrails on stairways in and around bathtubs and showers causes untold number of falls and fractures. There is no excuse. Handbars in showers, in bathrooms, and on stairwells are necessary, and if deficient, accidents become an element in litigation. Electric cords lying on floors, especially in the homes of elderly persons along with scatter rugs, break many hips and shoulders. The absence of nightlights in hallways, bedrooms, and traffic areas have also caused falls and fractures. Deaths in the elderly occur so often after a fall, fracture, or head injury. Many don't realize the critical balance of life or death in the elderly. A fall and fracture disrupt that balance, and many have died following those events. Most falls happen on ground level because of scattered items and or darkened areas, and do occur with alcohol, excitement, family panic, arguments, and disruption. The kitchen needs evaluation. Dishes should be easily reached and managed from standing floor positions, not reaching from a chair. A step stool, safe and secure, is valuable in the kitchen. Dry floors are a must, especially on the hard surfaces of kitchen and bathrooms. Bathrobes need rubber bottoms, and proper slip-free bath mats belong in bathtubs and showers, as do secure rails above and around the tub. All of these things are relatively easy to do, and well worth it if they prevent an accident or worse. And with that, Louie, I'll sign off. May your railings be secure and floors be clutter-free. Keep the faith, my friend, Jim.
All relevant to today.
Totally.
I mean, your father's, in my mind, just really your father being able to share his experiences and still have them relate to today is remarkable. So I will say that your father is remarkable. And we were talking about how this would be part of our community, and this is exactly what we see in any community, whether it's here or Conomowoc or wherever. The aging population, we're living longer. We need to get those trip items out of the way. The Aging and Disability Resource Center is a great resource for anyone that would want to get a hold of them. They come in and they do an evaluation of your living space and give you the recommendations of what to remove or move aside or rearrange the kitchen, get those cords off the floor. And for your father to have the foresight before this program was even developed is amazing.
I know, I agree. And I'll include that link on the website so people, when they're reading it, they can see that.
Yeah.
And I think this is especially important during the holiday season because, at those times you might be with your elderly family and you can kind of do a little safety audit of their house and make sure
Yes.
that things are okay.
Yes, we are recording this in the middle of December,
Right.
right before Christmas, just to let our viewers know. And that is a great time to bring up these discussions. And as what I have seen when people age and you want to bring up these ideas, they're concerned that they're going to get removed. They're not going to get removed from their home. It's just giving them the ability to be there longer. And now with the holidays again, you got cords everywhere for lights or decorations or whatever, and being aware of that. But also the stress of the holidays too, and talking about the family that, was under stress and the grandfather having too much to drink, and all of these are triggers during this time.
Right.
For everybody.
Right. And just one more thing, I just remembered another thing my dad would say is that, during the holidays or any time, we're also busy. We run around like crazy people and just do things so quickly. And I think it doesn't matter your age, you're at risk for hurting yourself if you just don't just take a breath and slow down, because that's how accidents happen.
Exactly, and I have seen that written about slowing down for the holidays almost every year, and I don't know if that's been attained, but it's nice to be reminded
Yeah.
of that and to just enjoy the time that you have, whether it's with friends, family, your holiday, make it your special time. However, you could do that within the safety, comfort of your own living space, whether that be your apartment or home or condo or whatever, and being aware of that too. And that's a hard thing to, I guess, portray to people as they age, that these items really are causing a safety hazard and concern. Convincing them to get that bedroom on that first level,
Right.
if possible, is
Right.
really important.
Moving the laundry upstairs from the basement or whatever.
Right.
Can be
Good
done.
point. Yes.
Yeah.
So they appreciate you coming in and
Thank
sharing
you.
this.
Thank
and look forward to the next one.
Excellent.
Yep. And to our viewers, as always, thank you for watching.